I'll share with you here something about the so-called Goldilocks zone for physical activity or exercise. And I think this illustrates very eloquently this idea of balance, in the sense that too little is bad for you. Too much is also bad for you, but there is this sweet spot in the middle where you get the most benefit. And this is exactly what research shows. Like, if you look at this article, which is a classic in the field of this idea of balance in physical activity, the Goldilocks zone for exercise, not too little, not too much. What these folks are showing is this classic U-shaped or J-shaped curve, where if you never exercise, your risk of coronary artery disease, for example, is quite high. But as you start to exercise, even once per week, you see how it drops like a rock here, and it drops some more if you go 2 to 3 times a week, and even more a little bit, or it kind of plateaus between 4 and 6 times per week. But if you start to do daily, and I'm talking here about strenuous exercise, like really intense, where you sweat, you really work hard, you start to see an increase in risk after a certain amount of such exercise. And the same picture can be painted from studies in people who have already had a cardiovascular event, such as a heart attack. All-cause mortality in green and cardiovascular mortality in brown. As you increase the amount of exercise, you can see how the risk of further events goes down. But after a certain level here, it starts to go back up again, exactly the same picture. The amount of exercise that seems to be too much is running more than 7 kilometers a day, which would be about 4 miles a day, or walking briskly more than 10 kilometers a day. So that's probably more than 6-7 miles a day of brisk walking. And again, the same exact idea with the risk of atrial fibrillation, which is a kind of a dangerous rhythm disorder. Here you see in men over 65 years of age, if you don't exercise at all, your risk is pretty significant. As you start to exercise more and more, up to moderate intensity, your risk goes down. But if you go over that level and you overdo it, the atrial fibrillation risk goes up. Interestingly enough, it doesn't go all the way up to where it was if you didn't exercise at all, but it does go up. And to summarize, I have to say a couple of things at least here in regards to physical activity. First of all, most people do too little. So don't take what I said so far to mean that, oh, I shouldn't exercise because it's dangerous for me. Quite the contrary. You do need, the majority, 95% of Americans that I met and know and seen in my office every single day have a severe deficiency of physical activity. So please go and do the exercise that you need. But if you do that, for those 5% that overdo it, please dial it down a little bit and try to find your Goldilocks zone there. You know, if you look at the official recommendations, they are about 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity aerobic exercise, or if you're talking about vigorous intensity exercise, you know, exercise that you sweat right away as you do it, about 75 minutes per week. Especially if you are over 45 years of age, it's important to not overdo it. I kind of beat this horse to death here, but just one more thing about this in older people. This is a study comparing multi-marathon runners, people who run at least 25 marathons in their lifetime, compared to people who never run a marathon. And you see here the amount of plaque that these people have. This plaque is a precursor of heart attacks and strokes, so it's important to not have plaque in our arteries. And what do you see in these marathon runners? Quite a bit more plaque, 200 versus 126 in the non-marathon runners. So this is serious business, you know, in those who overdo it.